Hey everybody, it's David Knight. Welcome to another episode of OK Boomer. And what we're talking about today is what pisses you off. Hey, I've got to say that the world is kind of overheating out there. People are getting super angry. We're still kind of in the midst of COVID-19, hopefully at the tail end. But I'm just experiencing lots of stories about people getting super angry. Their blood's boiling. They're getting in fights in grocery stores. They're arguing over who's wearing a mask and not. And then even today, just driving here, the road rage was kind of getting out of control. So I'd like to welcome Laura to
Hello.
the OK Boomer Show. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
You excited about talking about what pisses you off?
It's what I've been waiting to do for months now.
So Laura's on my team. She leads the content and SEO department, and just does an amazing job of writing stories, proofing some of the stuff that I write, which has always got Australianisms in it that need to be corrected. And she's just an awesome team player. So welcome, and tell us why you're excited about the topic today.
I feel like no one wants to really ask anyone how they're really feeling. It's like, oh, how are you? And if you say, well, actually, I'm not doing great. My dog died. My mom got into a car crash. And it's like, oh, whoa, whoa. I don't want to hear about the bad stuff. I just
Right.
want to know that you're okay, and I want to move on and go get my coffee.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to people asking how you really feel about something, it's like they really don't want to hear it. They're really not that interested. It's
Yeah.
very surface level. So it's just now it's cathartic.
So Laura's proud to be a millennial, and I'm
I'm an
proud
elder millennial.
elder millennial. Okay,
So
I didn't
I
know there
know
was a
struggle. The younger millennials, not so much.
there was a sub. I didn't know there was a subgroup of
Oh, yeah,
millennials. But
there is.
anyway, I'm a young boomer. so that's awesome. So we're probably closer together than we thought. But the purpose of the talk today is just to see if there's any similarities and differences between what gets. What's a good Texan saying? Like, puts a burr in your saddle, or what kind of gets you upset?
Chaps your chilies.
Chaps your chilies. What gets you upset? Primarily in the work environment, but I'm sure we're going to spill out into like general life, kind of what pisses you off. So, I don't know. What's your big thing? Like, what really kind of gets you upset? Let's just say in the
Oh,
work
but there's
environment.
so many things.
Okay,
In the
it's going to be a
work
long show, guys. Hang in.
in the work environment, I would say people who ask for a quick turnaround on things when they drop it in your lap that day, or like if it's 8 in the morning and I walk in and this is in my inbox, and then they want it done by like 9. So, like, first of all, I had other things to do.
Right.
You can't do this yourself. So
Yeah, I guess that's right. And then I always think about, well, how long have you been sitting on this thing, right? Because if you'd actually sent it to me when you first got it and not delayed a period of time, then I might have had a chance to deliver it to you. So I think that's a real piece. Just a tip for everybody: as soon as I get something, I try and delegate it, right? So it's just like it's like a hot potato. Like if you're trying to be urgent in business, then don't sit on it. Don't let your inbox fill out so that all of a sudden you go at the end of the day and clean out your email and oops, there was a request this morning and now you've got an even more hot potato. So just a kind of tip. So that's what pisses you off. What pisses me off, and I'm sorry, it's just something that's just like anally retentive for me, is like being late. I really my blood starts to creep and I start to shake.
it's disrespectful.
It's super disrespectful, and it's not only like one-on-one lates. It's just like when there's that meeting room full of people, execs, and you got clients on the Zoom channel, and key players in the meeting just don't turn up on time. And I always go to calculating what's the cost per minute, right? Because we've got
Time is money.
10 people in the room and their salaries are X, and you multiply that out and you go, hey, this is just burning cash right now. So, it gets back to that word integrity, right? Say X, do X. If you say you're going to turn up to a meeting, then turn up to the meeting, right? Hey, shit happens. So if the dog gets run over, or the roof leaks and you've got to be late, then just give somebody a heads up. Say, hey, 10 minutes before the meeting or more, hey, I'm not going to make it. So that's just my pet peeve.
It's courtesy.
Yeah. So that's my top of the list. What's your second?
Oh, surprises.
Ah,
I don't like being surprised.
I've got that as my number 3. So we're
Well,
good
when I
to-
compared your list earlier, not getting shit done. I mean, because I mean, the second something gets on my plate, I want it off, and I want to
Right.
get it done, move on to the next thing. Timely, efficiently. Because like time is money.
Right.
So people who have the lax attitude of, oh, I'll just get it done tomorrow, next week, then it becomes another day and another day, another. No, like you do it now.
Right. Right.
Because there's other people counting on you.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm I love the GSD term. It's just get stuff done, and I credit you, Laura. There's so many times I've just thrown the ball to you and expecting it, a week later, because but I get it pretty well straight back. So you're great at like just getting the stuff done and moving.
I think that comes from me starting my career on the East Coast in the DC area,
Uh-huh.
where everything is needed yesterday.
I've never really seen the DC area as being a center of production.
Really?
Center of bullshit, maybe, but center of production,
but
right?
I mean, there's so much competition for work, especially when you're young and you're trying to make a name for yourself and you want to be dependable, at least in the
Right.
arena I was in.
Right.
They needed things done very quickly.
Yeah.
And it was specifically, it was a publication. And that's a tight schedule
Right.
if there
Deadlines.
is one. So you learn to do things very quickly and efficiently and done right the first time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then coming out here where things are done a little more slower, sorry, bad grammar.
That's the Texan in you coming
yeah,
out,
it is.
right?
I talk good. But, that really, that does not sit well with me.
Yeah, yeah. So my number 2 was CYA behavior, cover your ass behavior. So, there's what really pisses me off when somebody does something or doesn't do something, and then the machine breaks down. And then there's just instead of like stepping up and owning the issue, right? Hey, my fault, my bad. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. There's energy expended to like cover the tracks. It wasn't me. There's a classic, reflect, redirect, and establish clear blame, right? So people like, they try to be Teflon, bounce the problem off me. It wasn't my problem, but that was that person's problem, and and get away from the issue. So that really upsets me. So, I don't know how that resonates with you.
When I was in undergrad, there was a school nearby called the Virginia Military Institute. And every time they got reprimanded for something, their response was, there is no excuse.
Right.
They accept it, they acknowledge it, they carry on.
Yeah. And a little bit gets back to surprises. If something's going wrong, right, and you've done something wrong, it's like, don't cover your tracks, own it, and more importantly, surface it up to the business, right? That say, hey, this is happening, right? We can fix it now rather than let it stew, boil over, and then, then there's a surprise, and then it's like, well, what happened here? How long ago did you know about it? Because, one of the truisms of life is problems get worse, right, if they're not attended to. They don't get better by themselves. So, if you're in business or you're in home or social circle and if something's going wrong, then just own it and surface it really quickly, and then it kind of blows over, right? So, things can be fixed at the early stage.
Absolutely.
My other one is negativity, and I think I've talked
Oh.
about this before. There are those that the glass is half empty and the glass is half full, or the glass is overflowing. So, again, I just have no time for negative people. It's just like, boy.
Yeah, stop pissing on my rainbow.
Right.
And negativity is contagious.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's more contagious than COVID, I think, right? It's just like, and it just sucks the energy from the room. It gets everybody on a Debbie Downer, and
You don't get anything done.
nothing done. You're just like, Pollyanna, poor me. The world is ending. But conversely, positivity is infectious, right? So if you can turn the corner, that's just why I like to surround myself with positive people.
But
And
I feel like sometimes it's more effort to be positive than it is. It's easier to be negative for a lot of people. I mean,
Right.
It's like second nature for them to be negative.
right,
Whereas if you're too positive, you're seen as Pollyanna and like, oh, what is she on?
right,
Um, it doesn't seem genuine to a lot of people,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it could be seen as ostrich syndrome, like, oh, everything's fine, I swear, and it's not.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's a balance, right? What else is on your list?
loud talkers.
Oh wow, okay.
Mm.
Especially in an open office
Oh
environment.
my gosh, see, I don't like the open office concept. I never have. I have people that complain about having an office. I'm like, you have a door that you can lock. I am jealous.
Yeah,
I am
yeah,
so jealous.
yeah,
And because I would just love to, I mean, when you're writing, you don't want to hear anybody.
right,
You
right.
want to get in your zone and, go, to your little world. Or if you're editing, especially, you need
Right.
P and Q. And you do not want to hear someone talk about their weekend or, trying to pitch someone.
Right.
You don't want to hear anything.
Or office gossip,
Ugh.
which is another thing on my list, right?
It's so toxic because they wonder what they say about you.
Right. No, it's totally. Again, it's part of that. The snowball starts to roll if you start to gossip in the office, and so it's just like, hey, especially when you start to hear and things kind of snowball through the office of like almost confidential information, right? That X is having an issue with Y, and they've overheard a one-on-one conversation, or they've been party to something. So, it's just office gossip is super bad, and it's negative, it's spiraling, and again, it puts you in a position where you've got people that you don't trust, right? Because you've told them information, and it's kind of somehow percolated through the organization. So that's a mess. Classic Australian term, whinging. We talk about whinging poms in Australia when the British come over to Australia and start complaining about the sky's too blue, it's too hot, there's kangaroos running around.
Tell them to go back.
Yeah. So whinging. So people complaining about stuff, right? Like, hey, don't complain. Like, get through it, right? And that just, I don't know. Is that an Australian thing, or does that happen here in whining? You call it whining?
Yeah, I mean, complaining, belly aching.
Yeah. Not good.
No, it's not. Again, it's also part of the negativity. So it's one thing to just vent a little bit and carry on, but if you're going to make that the entire day, really, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I will give you something to cry about.
You should. Now, what else you got on your list?
Oh, bad manners.
Oh, yeah. I like this topic.
I think, office environments have gotten more casual, and as a result, they tend to slacken in the professional sense, and, it could be just language, or it could be just how they greet people, or just even little things like holding the door for someone, or
Right.
just please and thank you, or really curt emails.
Yeah.
And I know I got a mouth on me, and again, it just happens, but it's a bad habit, I know. But, when I'm meeting a client, I definitely try to button it up.
Yeah, I had something similar to that. I just put it in the term disrespect, right? So again, whether you're, you're in a work environment, there's obviously some seniority, but if people are just not respecting individuals, whether they're senior or not, putting yourself in their shoes to understand where they're coming from, having some empathy, being again positive, but just not putting people down, right, or not giving people the time of day. So, there's been a few instances when I first walked into PIN where there was some people that just were disrespecting me. I think they were disrespecting you, and they're no longer with us. It's strange how that happens, right?
Funny.
Yep.
Interrupting in meetings, that's another one that really drives me crazy. I mean, you're trying to just, be professional to your guests, your clients,
Right.
and then someone cuts you off, and like, come on,
Well,
you're making yourself look bad.
I had on the other end of the spectrum non-participation in meetings, right? So you're in a meeting, and if you're sitting there and you don't, say a word, don't contribute, then why are you there, right? So, again, everybody's in there for a reason. And if you've got a point of view or you want to confirm something, then get involved, right? Your insight is different. You really should contribute. You should say something, move the ball forward. So I guess there's a balance there, right? You either sit there and do nothing, or you're kind of overly, participating and just cutting people off and forcing people into the corner of the room. So good stuff. What else?
Bragging.
Bragging.
If you
Okay.
have to brag about it, you don't have it.
I had taking credit, not giving credit. So that's a little bit similar, right? So bragging about what you do. Sometimes people brag about results and they actually had nothing really to do with it. Or mostly it's a team effort, right? And so if somebody's taking credit for something, make sure that firstly they're giving credit to everybody else who is involved, right? Mm-hmm. So again, it's not an opportunity for you to kind of shine and rise. It's opportunity for you to bring everybody up, right? So I've certainly been in my career back in time where, you'd work really hard as a group, and then all of a sudden, a director or VP would like take credit for something, and it's like, really? That's not really, you didn't really have much to do with that. Yes, your team did it, but hey, just share the love, right?
Right. It's not a you project, it's a group project.
That's right. And I think people know me around here, right? Leaving a mess, right? Especially in the office, right? You walk into the kitchen and holy, what happened, right? There's just dirty dishes everywhere. Everything's just thrown in the sink, and nobody's taken, the extra 10 seconds to like put it in the dishwasher, right? It's just like, hey, have respect. You're in a work environment, just do the right thing.
Or if they do put things in the dishwasher, they put dish soap instead of those pods. Well, and the kitchen suds up, and I'm thinking, who raised you? Where's your mother? Because I need to talk to her.
As stupid is as stupid does. It's like, really? Come on. Thanks for going
Raised
the
in a
extra mile.
barn?
Thanks for going the extra mile and actually putting some soap in there and turning it on. But really, dishwasher takes those little pods, not the blue liquid that really soaps up. Man, those dishwashers go crazy when they get soap in there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my nephews would love it to play with it.
Awesome. I think the other one I had, and maybe it's kind of the end of the list, is AWOL, right? Mm-hmm. So, sometimes, you've got team members that all of a sudden they're disappeared, right? And it's always Murphy's Law when somebody's, AWOL, something happens and you need them to solve it, and you don't know where they are. You don't know why they're not there or available. And, again, in the work environment, courtesy is, hey, if I got to step out, I got something to do, I'm heading out of the office, it might be half an hour, or if you need half a day, whatever. But it's just kind of communication so that if something goes wrong, then, people know where to find you, right?
It's one thing to run an errand on your lunch break, go to the store, get something from the pharmacy, whatever. But to take an entire afternoon off because you just want to, and not tell anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Well, I mean, I text you if I have a doctor's appointment, so you know where I am. That if I got into an accident or something happened to me, you know about it. It's just out of courtesy. That's how I guess was brought up, just to let people know where you are.
Yep. Yeah, it's important, right? Especially when you're depending on people and you're part of a team, and it's most businesses are like an engine, right? There's lots of cogs. Each cog needs the other cog, big or small, to get the car moving forward. So, even if a little cog gets out of place, right, and is missing, the engine's not going to work. So it's really important. I think my last one is problems with no solutions, right? So, hey, there's always problems out there, but, please don't bring them to me without a solution, right? So, hey, here's the issue. I think we can do this, and then you have the opportunity to kind of build on that idea. But it's a really good kind of mindset for people anywhere, right? That if you're encountering a problem, spend 5 minutes thinking about, okay, so what do we do next? Because really you should be the domain expert, right? So if the problem in your area, you really should know a solution. So bring a solution or a couple of them to whoever when you have a problem. So that's probably my last my last piece. I think we've gone through them all. Do you have any that you haven't attacked yet?
One thing that just kind of annoys me, excessive posting to your personal social media while at work. Like selfies at your desk going, I'm bored. And then you see the timestamp was an hour ago. Like, hey, you were supposed to be in that meeting.
Right.
So you're basically, leaving your own evidence trail behind when you do that. And
the best thing I did in 2020 was I got off Facebook completely. I still have Facebook Messenger because that's what my mum uses in Australia. But I was done with it. One, I was just getting wrapped up in too much time wasting, and I go back. You're right. I mean, those social media platforms, they're just, as you put everything out there, then it kind of comes back and bites you. So
and you don't know what's in the background of your selfie. That could be some confidential company material on your computer screen that is there for God and everybody to see. So I think a lot of it is irresponsible or, somewhat narcissistic in a way.
Right.
Just, don't do it at work.
Yeah.
Or if you have to, if you're wishing someone happy birthday, that's one thing. But it doesn't need to be constant because are you really working at that point?
Yeah. Well, boy, I feel a lot better. I kind of got a lot off my chest.
I'm not even done.
You're not even done? Okay.
That'll be another podcast.
Well, I guess, in the spirit of leaving on a positive note, everybody out there, super overheated, and I can understand that, right? I mean, it's not easy, right? Being, in this environment, especially when you're subjected to such crazy pieces of information. I just can't believe how divided information is, right? You see something, then all of a sudden you see something that's completely opposite, and it's really confusing. So be respectful to everybody out there. Step back, mind your own business,
be
right?
Be a good person,
be
work
a good
hard
person,
and be nice.
Stay in your lane. Hopefully some of this resonated with you, that, you can think about it, take some of these gems back into your workplace, be a better work citizen and a social citizen. We will get through this. As I think back, there's a lot of those things were fairly similar in terms of, boomers and, or young boomers and older millennials. What kind of pisses us off. So a good laundry list. Any last things, Laura?
No, that would take up another podcast.
Another podcast. Well,
but I will say, meetings that should have been emails.
Okay, that's a good note to finish on. Laura, you will be back. Really appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, if you're out there and you like the show, hit the subscribe button. Join the OK Boomer team. If you ever have any ideas of what we can talk about, please send them to us. And over and out. Have a great day, everybody.